Hi, my name is Jaden White.
I am Rose Tumble.
Grayson Smith.
My name is Richard Rentz.
Melissa Boyle.
My name is Taika Wallace.
I'm Jared Robin.
I'm Michael Torres.
My name is Annie Ferguson.
My name is Morgan O'Keefe.
First name is Marquez, last name is Ferguson.
I'm 15.
16.
I'm 16 years old.
15.
I'm 20 years old.
I am 17 years old.
Just turned 17.
I'm 18.
I identify as a female and a lesbian.
He, him, and gay.
He, him pronouns, male and gay.
I identify as she, her, and then bisexual.
I'm gay.
I classify myself as gay.
And I identify as gay.
I'm gay.
I identify as bisexual these days. I don't know. It's fluid.
I'm gay and I go by he.
Shocked.
Frustrated.
I guess like sad.
Upset.
100% realistic.
For today, they're a little bit dramatized, but there's definitely been bullying like that.
Both.
I think, like, the beating up was dramatized, but
This is very real for so many people.
It was made to seem dramatized, I think, but definitely realistic. Like, that stuff happens all the time.
I wouldn't say quite as extreme, but I've definitely seen acts of bullying in Falls Church.
No.
no.
Not like the physical abuse part, but like the like verbal, yes.
I've seen bullying based off of people for gender.
Not really.
Honestly, the worst bullying I've seen has been like from straight people to other straight people.
Yeah, I have.
It was absolutely inappropriate. He brought up a zero tolerance policy, and I figured he was talking about bullying because that's usually how it is, but when he said for like holding a boy's hand, I just, it was awful. Like,
It's messed up, and he should have called the parents of the other kids.
I think the girls who were dunking her should have been punished, and that the girl should have been allowed to be whoever she was, and that the teacher should have supported her in that.
And like also she didn't do anything wrong.
Honestly, expulsion was in order because that is abuse.
Know the situation. There was no chastisement for the girls who did it. There was no reprimandation. Like, nothing happened.
Why do you think the teacher didn't do anything?
Probably because he felt the same way.
He did it to protect himself, which honestly isn't good at all because he just hurt another person. Even if he didn't try to, he did it, and then he knows what happened. So if anything, he could have just like pretended that he kissed her back, and they both could have just dealt with it together.
Basically, didn't want to be a target for people, for hate crimes.
When I was a sophomore, I was struggling with my identity, and I told a lot of people that this girl in my grade was gay when I had no evidence that that was true. I just had suspicions. And she turned out to be queer because I was so concerned about people finding out that I was gay that I just wanted the spotlight off of me, and I wanted people to be talking about her. I feel horribly about it, and I'm very, very sorry to that girl.
I mean, okay, yay for you, like, trying to not get your kid beat up, but also at the same time, why not address the problems? Like, the protagonist did name some names, and like, the parents could have made a phone call. They could.
but I feel like the intent was to make her more homosexual and more buff, so people would stop thinking she was a heterosexual.
She was trying to push stereotypes on her daughter.
Her mom should have definitely been there for her.
That was like pretty sad because it's like the mom doesn't accept her for like how she was like born.
I think the mom should defend her because she's obviously not capable of defending herself right now.
It's behind a keyboard. It's not to their face. It spreads the information around faster and sometimes to the wrong people. So then those wrong people are going to be able to confront us and like bully us.
With like Finstas where they're private, so like only their friends can see it. It happened that someone like outed someone else on their social media Finsta.
It's more of a 24/7 cycle. I've always said bullies are lazier now, so because before it was like 3:30, meet me at the bus stop, and now you can just whip out your phone.
Transformed a lot. Like, people get bullied a lot on the internet, more than in real life now.
So I actually have found that social media has been like one of the best things for me.
It also provides a connection for a lot of LGBT youth to one another.
Like, there's so many like gay YouTubers, you know, that are like expressing themselves and saying like this is an okay thing for you to do, and that like is very important in helping like young people feel okay with what they are.
As a father, are you concerned if one of your children were to be a part of the LGBTQ plus community? Would you be concerned that they would be bullied online because of their identity?
Of course.
Like, I think it makes sense. Is like, especially like transgender community, like they still face like even at this school, which is like liberal, I still always hear conversations of people saying like being transgender is a choice, it's not real, and it's like that's pretty like hard to hear. Like,
there is a pressure to be like everyone else, even if we claim that there's not. There 100% is.
It's hard with families, depending on what your situation is, friends, how you're being treated, the pain you're going through trying to figure out who you are. And there's a lot more added stress and a lot more ways that you can kind of lead into depression because you have this extra stressor.
And just knowing that you're different and that you're just never gonna conform to what like society wants you to be, once you know that, it's so much harder to live through life.
Yeah.
Why?
Because there is bullying at school, and there's also like people's families' mindsets.
Being an other, it's not being seen as an other. Being seen as an other has never been a good thing.
My mom grew up in a very like Republican community, and she saw that a lot of people were getting treated this way and wanted to take their own lives.
I mean, it's sad that they're dying so young. And
100%. I suffered from really severe depression in high school, and I think the symptoms and the like damage that depression left in my life started in middle school, and I honestly think I can trace a lot of it to being so discontent with what I was beginning to realize was my sexuality.
Relief.
Fear.
It was nerve-wracking.
I guess it was kind of like confusing.
Apprehensive.
Confidence, yes.
Terrifying.
Liberating. I felt like I was skipping around the UVA grounds.
I came out when I was in 8th grade, and my family was very religious. My mother was like, all right, let's go to church. And I said, I don't want to go to church because I'm gay. And she was like, oh, well, I guess you can stay home then.
I came out December 2016. Came out because I was sure of who I was, and I didn't want to pretend I was someone else anymore.
12, I think. Came out because it was that type, you know, in middle school where everyone has like their middle school boyfriend. Or like, do you like her? And I was like, no, actually, sorry.
I came out to like 3 people in 5th grade, but then I didn't really come out like completely until like I think last year. But the 3 people like, I mean, they kind of didn't actually believe me, so like that's kind of, I didn't really like tell anyone else afterwards.
I came out officially last year. Everyone knew that I was gay, but I was denying it. I was walking down the street, and I saw this really, really hot guy with his friends.
I came out when I was in the 4th grade. I remember like falling in love with Jacob from the Twilight series. And I like literally remember being like that was like my sexual awakening.
I came out to my first friend in 7th grade. The friends that I told in middle school were really wonderful and didn't really care.
I came out to my first friend when I was 15, and I was outed by bullies at my school when I was 16.
On coming out day this year, I guess last year, 2017, October 11th, I think. I just posted on Instagram. For 6 years, I thought about it, and I just couldn't do it.
I came out to my friends in school in 2nd grade, but I came out to my family when I was in middle school. I just didn't want to have it to be a secret. Like, I want to be myself around everyone. I don't want to hide anything. And if I have to hide anything from people, then they just shouldn't be my friends. And if they can't accept me for who I am, then that's not my problem.
They told me that it was fine, but they really didn't want me telling the rest, like the extended. We have a family member who did come out later in his life, and everybody completely disowned him, and my mom just really didn't want that to happen to me.
My dad was like, "Why are you crying?" When I told my mom I was trans, she's like, "You don't have to label yourself." And I was like, "Do you know what it is?" And she's like, "No." Then they're a lot better now, and they call me the right things, and they're accepting of who I am. So,
like, yeah, Tyken being vegan is just like the same thing as her being gay. Like, I don't like it, but like if she were to like tell me these things, I just kind of, one of my aunts just equated being vegan to being gay, which I was like, that is, first of all, not even in the same ballpark.
We were like, I have conservative parents, and they've said, like, it's okay, like, whatever, but I know that, like, they might have a problem. Like, that didn't convince me. I just don't talk about it with my parents.
My parents were very, very supportive. My mom was offended that I had told my friends before her. A lot of parents, I don't think, understand that it's so much harder to tell your family than it is to tell your friends.
I told my mom, and my mom, she accepts gays, but she denies that I'm one because I don't show it to her. Like, I don't, like, act flamboyant in front of her. And my brother, it's hard to tell with him because he's sometimes supportive, and then sometimes he jokes and, like, says, like, all gays should go to hell or some shit like that.
My sisters both accept me. My father accepts me. My mother had a hard time with it, but she accepts me now, and doing that they can't change me for who I am.
she told me a lot to like have conversations with God.
But they were wonderful. My family's the best. Maggie, if you're watching this, you're the best. And Mom and Dad and Jimmy and Josh are the best. I never had a bad experience. Every single person I told from 7th grade to my 2nd year of college was like, heck yeah.
If one of your children were to come out to you, how would it make you feel and how would you react?
I mean, no matter what, it's my child. So, like, that's just no question, no options there. It's just like, it's my child. So, part of me would wonder if it was something that I possibly have done. Again, I would be fine with them being that way, being gay, being straight, being like whatever it is. But I would just think, all right, like, was it me? Is it something I've done?
Yes. It's scary telling someone that you're different just because they always thought you were another way. There was a scene in Love, Simon where he was like, it's so unfair that we have to come out just because, like, straight is the default.
Mm-hmm.
And it is.
Yes.
Why?
My mom grew up Catholic and Italian, and at the time I was in a relationship with someone who was transphobic, so that was an added stress of like having to end that and like dealing with who I was.
People act like it's not like it's just a word saying I'm gay or I'm trans, but it's just hard for us because we don't know how people will react. But when I came out to my sisters, I was a little scared because I didn't know how they'd react.
Not really.
Yeah. I felt like my friends might be like mad that I was like lying to them.
Yes.
I was very scared to come out because I didn't want people to think that I was different. I didn't want girls to like stop inviting me to sleepovers, and I was mostly scared because of how my brother would react.
Do you think your child would be afraid to come out to you or to friends?
I would hope not. I think I'd feel like, wow, like what did I do? So if my own child couldn't talk to me about it, that would just mess me up.
I have been called a fucking dyke.
Or like, sometimes they would say things like, they would like all go into like bedrooms so they can get dressed or something. They're like, oh, sorry, you can't go in because like you're into girls or something like that.
I have seen heterosexual couples going at it. That's totally fine. Nobody really cared. I have seen homosexual couples been asked to not sit next to each other, not hold hands, not put an arm around the other one.
Occasions, I think I've probably been called a faggot before.
My mom didn't realize it slipped out, but she told them I was gay, and they tried to pray Satan out of me, which kind of pissed me out. Basically, you could say it's like getting bullied at school, but instead it's your family. So they never accepted me. They tried to kick me out. And when they did, I went to all my friends' houses.
Side comments.
I was actually outed over text messages to my entire family by bullies at Mason. I got into an argument with two girls, and one of them knew that I was gay because I had come out to her. She sent a photo of a private photo that she had acquired from another girl. So she went through another person to get this photo. It was a photo of the person that I was seeing at the time, the two of us. She texted that photo to my brother, knowing that he would not be okay with it, and knowing that he was very conservative, and that he would not be accepting of me, and it completely shattered my relationship with my brother. Something that I had worked up to for so long was literally taken away in like the 3 seconds that it takes to send a text message. I knew that he was not going to be okay with it, and I knew that it would make my home life very uncomfortable, which is why when those girls outed me, that was probably one of the worst days of my life. After I was outed, I was crying on school grounds, and I went to an administrator, and I went to her office, and I told her that they had outed me to my family. I told her that they had been calling me names in the hallway. They'd been screaming snake at me in other words. I told her that one of the girls had publicly threatened to physically fight me in a parking lot at school, and the administrator called the girls into her office, told them that that wasn't okay, and there was no additional punishment at all. And I was threatened with an act of violence, and those girls didn't even take it seriously when they were talked to. They just forgot about it, and I was at school and I was unsafe, and that administrator did nothing about it.
I think the worst treatment I've ever got is from myself.
Probably from my parents, honestly. When I first came out, my mom was really rude to me and really bad.
I guess being called names. Sometimes I get called queer. Other times I get called, like, you gay ass or some crap.
I feel very used a lot. People who want to accept me because they can get something out of me. And the culture of Mason has had a large impact on how I view that, and has a large impact on why I am so outspoken. Because I have personally experienced, like, from the boys in the class of 2018, like, internalized homophobia from the second that I walked into Mason. Like, there have been maybe 10 boys in our grade that have had, like, an actual conversation with me in the last 4 years. They're all, like, want to say, like, they're liberal and they're not. Like, well, we can talk to him and, like, make him feel, like, accepted because he's gay, and then use him and then stop talking to him. That, like, some of the worst treatment I have personally experienced has been feeling left out because I am gay, and then the fact that, like, nobody in Falls Church wants to admit that that's why I'm being left out. My friends not standing up for, like, homophobic things being said even when I'm not around, because even though people don't want to say homophobic things around me because they know it makes me uncomfortable, they still say it. And my friends aren't standing up for me. I think that a lot of times I feel like I'm a second choice because I am gay. So I was basically not invited to a beach week because, like, the guys didn't want me there because, like, they're all homophobic. And then I was added to another beach week with another group of people that they like literally added me to their group, and then those guys also decided to kick me out because they're also internalized homophobics. Things like if you're straight, like you will get on a list. Being a gay man has basically like left a gap between me and my grade.
I was very, very close to a student at Mason, and her mother knew that I was gay, and every time that I would go over to her house, her mother would go out of her way to make me very uncomfortable. She would refuse to like speak to me or to acknowledge my presence in the room. She refused to take photos of us at prom. I used to think that if I got into a really good college, or if I was really polite, or if I dressed nice when I went over to their house, that her mom would think more highly of me. So she would like me more and she would be nice to me. When the fact is that I needed to realize that I'm amazing as I am. There was nothing more that I could have done to make her accept me. The fact is that that woman was homophobic, and she wasn't okay with me being with her daughter because I was gay. Her family had the problem. I didn't have a problem. It made my self-esteem so low because I thought that there was something wrong with me. It still haunts me to this day. There was an incredible power imbalance. I was in a relationship with her child. I was 16, and she is like a middle-aged woman who is very prominent in Falls Church. I would have, gone off on her and said, like, you treat me horribly, then my relationship with her daughter would have fallen apart. And at the end of the day, my relationship with her child actually ended up falling apart anyway. I just got so sick of how she was treating me. I refused to go over to their house towards me. And it would make me feel so badly when I would go over there and her other kids would have friends over, and I would see like how nice she was to them, and she was never nice to me.
On low levels, yes.
Some kids were talking, and someone called someone gay as a joke, and then they're like, "Whoa, bro! Like, do not say that to me." And they're like, "Oh, are you a homophobe?" And he went, "Yeah." And then they both looked at me, and I was like, a lot of times it's not like face-to-face targeting someone. A lot of times it's like in a class I have where I just sit there and I listen to people call each other faggots, and people use gay as an insult, people use derogatory terms to talk about transgender students, or people creating the toxic environment by just the things that they think are funny.
I know a lot of people that do, like, and just like don't say it, and like are like low-key like racist and homophobic or like transphobic, and it's like,
my friends do discriminate a lot of people based on their sexuality. I don't say anything about it because I don't know what to say.
Transphobia is a huge problem at Mason too. Like I'm not trans, so like I can't experience, and I like have definitely had like a hard time relating towards trans people, and like I'm not going to lie and say that I haven't. Like it's not something that is like a comfortable topic for people to talk about because there's such a pressure on like masculinity and femininity in American culture. Personally, like I was like misgendered all the time as a child. Like till I was in like 10th grade, like people and like the campers I had at camp would like think that I was a girl because my voice is high pitched and I like didn't like act like a masculine man, and like I have personally felt the weight of that and like the experience that I've had like not being a super macho man and like being self-conscious of that, and I'm not even like a transgendered person.
Like often like in PE, like they sometimes like separate like boys and girls different side of the gym, and I always like I do have like some gender neutral or like transgender friends, and that seems like really hard for them. I guess that kind of is discrimination because like transgender, like they're not always like completely out, if they're like out to their friends, and it's kind of uncomfortable to like the whole school. And like gender neutral people, like it's like kind of hard because which side they go on since they don't identify as a gender.
Street class, and we have a person who recently came out as trans. Two people were playing rock, paper, scissors, and this one guy goes, "Oh, okay, she's out." And the boy happened to be sitting at my table, and I just kind of looked at him, and the whole class was just kind of looking around, and we were like, we don't really know what to do.
Yeah, so he was misgendered.
Right, he was misgendered.
Are there any?
It's a good question.
I think that there are definitely resources, but not LGBTQ plus resources.
No.
Why not?
Well, they definitely, like, they only have 2 gender-neutral bathrooms, and they're both 1 stall, and they took away 1 this year as a teacher bathroom. So, like, students who identify as non-conforming to a gender or who don't feel comfortable in gendered bathrooms, it makes it really difficult.
Something like, I'm being discriminated against because of a fill in the blank. The person is kind of like, I don't really know what to do.
I feel as if a student was really, really struggling and needed a safe place, that they wouldn't have an easy time finding one.
Like there's the GSA club. I also think that a lot of people don't really know about it, and even that can be kind of hard to like go to if they're not like out yet.
Probably not. But I think that if I had felt like that I had somebody, like even just like a student, that I was like, these people suck, and someone like actually like did something about it, or like said like, you can't do this, like that would help. But like the probability of that happening is so low, especially because like even if like there were a teacher at Mason who could help, like all of what I've experienced has literally been like not in school and not to my face and like kind of like really low key.
Is there ever really enough resources? They try.
I'm just going to give a shout out to Miss Reyes right now because she saved my life in high school. So Miss Twos, wonderful. She knew about all my problems and treated me so well.
Some certainly make an effort, and I also think that some don't even try, and it breaks my heart.
Yes.
I think they treat me like every other student, don't discriminate me from things, don't call me out on things.
Do you think teachers and staff make an effort to respect students and their identities?
Like recently, one teacher was saying how they're just going to categorize transgenders as being a sexuality. Like, I think there could be better understanding.
It's a lot of process to legally change your name, but just this year they started changing names in yearbooks, and like I like barely was able to change my name on Schoology. They won't let you change it in your accounts or for roll or anything.
I'd say most of them do accepting, but I have a couple teachers where when people make those comments, the teacher is lecturing in front of the class, right in front of those students. They're completely disrupting the class with these comments, and he does not say anything about them. He lets it go, and then one time someone made a joke about a war, and he stopped it. He was like, that's not funny, like, people died. So in my head I was like, so making all these derogatory comments about everyone, like they're racist comments, they're transphobic comments, they're homophobic comments, they're sexist, and he doesn't do anything at all.
For other
It
people.
happens like every day, so I'm just...
I wouldn't say they make an effort. I guess it depends on the teacher too.
Yes.
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 Yeah, I think my mom said it was a phase at one point. But that was when I was like 13, and she says you don't know anything about love and all this. Like, it's probably just a phase.
Yes.
Yes.
Not explicitly.
I have gotten what does your family think?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes. Multiple occasions. I think I've probably been called a faggot before.
Yeah.
Like frequently?
Mm-hmm. Frequently.
Yeah, I hear it all the time.
Yes.
The only time I've been called faggot was for my brother, and I call him scrawny bitch, so that's how it works.
True.
It's all bullshit. I mean, like,
Facts.
yeah. So it's like great, like you supported Obama and you hate Donald Trump, but like that doesn't make you not a homophobe. Huge part of like being liberal, I feel like, is like being accepting, because like there's a difference between being like a Democrat who voted for Obama and like I mean basically until gay marriage was legalized, Democrats like didn't really support it either.
People think that because they're not outright racist or outright homophobic. They're supportive, but I know a lot of parents that are okay with other people being gay, but as soon as it's their child, they're not okay with it. And that means that you're not supportive, period.
I also think that everyone in Falls Church is super into this perfectionism complex.
Actually, I mean, I know there actually are, like, parents, like, quite a few that aren't accepting, even in Falls Church, because, like, of religion and things like that.
It's pretty true, but at the same time, there's a lot of, like, stuff under the surface.
To what extent do you to what extent do you believe this to be true?
I guess it's not true. It's just false. I guess have a liberal face, but their heart's not.
I think people, like, belief-wise, I think they are pretty liberal. Like, they support gay marriage, like, you know, use, like say fag and things like that all the time, and I hear people, like, make jokes like that's so gay. So even though they support gay marriage, though, they're still not, like, necessarily, like, accepting. And I know, like, people, like, if there's, like, a gay guy, like, I know, a lot of people wouldn't be friends with him because of it, like, a lot of his, like, other, like, male classmates. So I guess they're still, like, even though they support it, they're not necessarily accepting everyone.
I believe it to be really true, actually.
I recognize that people, I think also it's just like Falls Church is a pretty like liberal community. So
Like everything about Mason is homogenous. We're very liberal. Most of the students are white. Most of the teachers are white. We only have one out teacher that I can think of at the very least.
there was a girl whose parents were very unaccepting of her. She was very much in a state where she like didn't feel like it was okay because of what her parents were telling her, and I like tried to make her really, really recognize that like wasn't the case.
There are definitely people who don't accept me, but because it's a very liberal school, they don't say anything.
There's definitely a liberal feel from it, but there's a community that's not like that at all.
Falls Church is mostly liberal. I don't believe that everyone is accepting.
60% is accepting, and then the other 40 aren't.
And I have felt lonely and excluded solely because I'm a gay man.
You need to let your kid be who they are. What you should want as a parent is for your child to be happy being themselves. If you repress their feelings, everything is just going to end up being so much worse.
The damage that you are doing to your child by refusing to accept them is so severe and is going to lead to them resenting you, and you need to stop making them feel unaccepted.
Parent, listen to your kid. Not be so, that's wrong, we can't do that. Probably gonna either have you end up losing a kid via they're going to die, or they're going to never speak to you again.
Suicide.
Their child is going through rough times, not only with coming out, but they also have school on their shoulders, the parent on their shoulders. Like, if they're Christian or not, then they have the church on their shoulders, like a job, if anything. That they're so stressed out with life right now that all they need is someone close to them, as in family, to accept them.
Why'd you have kids if there was X, Y, and Z that you wouldn't like in your kid? If you weren't gonna support your kid, you don't get to have a checklist and be like, okay, blonde hair, blue eyes, no gay, no gay. Like, you can't do that. So you knew going into it that it was a possibility.
There's an idea of trying to, change your child or trying to fix your child. But you should not be a parent if you wouldn't love your kid if they were gay.
It's really like, who are you? Like, why don't you love your child, and why don't you love yourself?
Give the parent to give him or her a little leeway.
You suck. You suck. Because that's horrible. You birthed your kid, and you're making your kid feel unloved for something that is so far out of their control. My parents, you're awesome, and thank you for never making me feel that way.
No matter what, this is your child. So it's like either you're gonna be a help or you're gonna hinder,
Sit your child down and you should say, I don't understand this and we need to have a conversation about it. I'm sorry. can you please tell me what I can do to support you? Like, I love you, I support you, what can I do to support you more? You should not be saying, like, it's a phase, or you're going to hell, or you shouldn't just act like it's not a thing and like it'll just magically go away, because it's not going to. It's who they are. So you might as well start dealing with it and being supportive, because you are inflicting damage on your child and they're going to resent you when they're older if you make them feel like their sexuality isn't valid.
But I want to just be the best I can as far as support.
Yeah, I think the most important thing is that, like, your children just know that, like, you love them,
Yeah.
and that hasn't changed, and that, like, you still see them as the person that they've always been.
No.
Why?
I live with women my entire life, so I know how they are, and like, not being rude, but I know how they are, and it just I'm glad I'm gay, but I love having friends who are females.
No.
Why?
Because I cannot see myself any other way, and I like who I am.
I absolutely would not be straight if I could be. I've spent the past 5 years trying to be comfortable in my own skin, and I love who I am, and I think being gay is a huge part of my life, and I would not trade that for the world.
No.
Why?
Because I think that being trans and gay makes me is a part of who I am, and has shaped me as a person and made me stronger.
If you could be straight, would you be?
Like, my mom was in love with my dad, married him, had a baby with him, stayed with him for 10 years after, and then was like, I don't love you anymore, but I love a woman, and I've never loved a woman before, but that doesn't mean that, like, I'm gay.
Probably not. Obviously, some aspects would be easier, like there'd be no coming out.
Probably not.
I don't know. I like going to the Pride Parade and wearing a flag around my neck and wearing my rainbow shirts, and I don't think I would trade it.
I like how we can all kind of sympathize with each other and we just kind of get each other, which is something that I can't really get in another community, you know.
What I love most is the support system with, I'm so proud of a lot of people, like, truly coming out about how they feel and uniting as a group to stand for their rights.
The L word. How much we all love each other.
Everyone's out there. Like, we don't care what people think about us, and if we do, we all have each other.
I don't feel like I'm a part of, like, the community. Like, I appreciate the community, but it's not, like, I don't feel the need to place myself as a member of a community. I'm more of an individual who identifies with these things, and I connect with these people, but I don't consider myself in a community with them.
Being different has made me realize that being different is okay.
95% of my friends are gay. It's so supportive. It's so welcoming.
A lot of interesting people are gay, so, like, there's more diversity in, like, GSA club. Like, you know, it's kind of fun just, like, getting to talk to people who, like, have similar experiences, and, like,
The people, because the people I meet are very emotionally intelligent, because I feel like you have to grow up a lot younger.
They need to take their time and come out when they are ready to.
We've all been there. There are lots and lots of wonderful students at Mason that are out that you can talk to. Generally, other students who are LGBT will really respect the fact if you want to keep it quiet. What you're going through is normal. It's okay to be scared. It's okay to be unsure. Try not to get all the answers at once, because it's probably going to be a long process, and just turn to the people that you know are going to support you. You are loved and you are valid, and there are always going to be people that are going to support you.
I don't know how their parents are like or their friends, but what happened with me is I just told them and said, you need to suck it up, because that's the way it is. And it worked for me somehow.
If they needed help, I'm here.
Themselves, and like everyone's so caught up in like labeling themselves that like they don't realize that like it really does not matter at all. Like,
Consider your surroundings. Sometimes it's not safe. Be you.
Or branch out when you feel comfortable. You don't have to do it all at once.
start with your friends. You'd be very surprised that people care about you beyond what you expect.
If you see your kid has vision problems, you give them glasses. What do? I guess you talk about it. You express, the fact that they can come to me.
Community.
Yeah.
Yes, but it did take me a little bit to get there, because while I was really comfortable with myself being a gay man as a child, because I was misgendered a lot and I like to play with girl things, there was like a phase where I was like, maybe if people think that I'm a girl, like I'm supposed to be a girl.
Yeah.
A good 84%. It's getting there. I think knowing that 7 short years ago it was negative a million, I'm pretty good with 84%.
Thank you for watching. I made this video because I wanted to bring light to the fact that there are pretty serious issues going on in Falls Church and at Mason. Just because something is viewed as liberal doesn't mean that they're accepting, and that as a community in Falls Church, we're very small, we're very tight-knit, and I think that there's a lot more that can be done by not only the administration, but by students, by parents, by other staff, to make Mason a more inclusive environment. And that starts with these sorts of conversations. And something isn't improved upon unless people are talking about it. And so I really hope that this documentary will spark conversations. I hope that people learned something today, and I'm really, really glad that people are watching this. And I hope that it gets those creative juices flowing. And I hope that after my time at Mason, that it gets better for students. It shouldn't be the responsibility of students to educate other people at the school about what's appropriate and about how we should be treated. But I have the capability to do that as a part of this community, and so I'm going to do it. Mason is the type of school that's going to let me voice my opinion, and if I have the opportunity to educate others so that future students can have a better experience, I'm going to do that, and that's how I want to leave my mark on Mason. If you're watching this and you're a closeted student, I don't want to send, or even if you're straight, I don't want to send the message that being gay is, or trans, or a part of the LGBTQ plus community sucks and that it's like horrible. I love being gay, and that's why I asked the question about, like, if you could be straight, would you be? Do you feel comfortable in your own skin? Because the point is that the members of the community, for the most part, do feel very comfortable, and we are happy with who we are. But it is a really hard process, and people need to be talking about it, and people need to understand that, and people need to be educated about it. So if you're closeted, I don't want you to watch this video and think like, oh my god, I want to be a different way. I want to be straight. I love being gay. It's awesome. And you will probably get to that point too. But just know that there's going to be hardships, but that you have support and that people love you.